Hello students, welcome back to class 12 business studies. In our previous video lecture, we discussed about the meaning of consumer, concept of consumer protection and importance of consumer protection for consumers and businessmen. In today's video lecture, we are going to discuss about the Consumer Protection Act 1986 and consumer rights. So let's start with Consumer Protection Act 1986. As I told you before, this act was enacted in the year 1986. Consumer Protection Act 1986 aims to protect and promote the interest of consumers. Consumer Protection Act 1986 safeguards and gives legal protection to consumers against defective goods, deficient services, and any unfair trade practices. This act was brought into existence in order to provide speedy and inexpensive redressal of consumer grievances. One of the purpose of this act is to provide simple, quick, and inexpensive remedy or compensation against consumer grievances or complaints. For further safeguarding the consumer's interest against unscrupulous and exploitative trade practices, Consumer Protection Act 1986 has provided 6 basic consumer rights, which are right to safety. Second one is right to be informed. Third one is right to choose. Fourth one is right to be heard. Fifth one is right to seek redressal. And the last one is right to consumer education. Consumer Protection Act 1986 has a very wide scope. It is applicable to all the types of organizations like big businesses, small businesses, private, public, and cooperative sector. It is even applicable to a trader and a manufacturer, goods supplier, and service provider. As I've mentioned before that there are 6 basic consumer rights given to a consumer under the Consumer Protection Act 1986. So let's discuss all these 6 consumer rights in detail one by one. Our first right given to consumers is right to safety. Every single consumer has a right to be protected and safeguarded from goods and services that are unsafe, injurious, and risky to the health and life. As a consumer, whenever you purchase any sort of products, you should demand on the quality and guarantee of the products, because many manufacturers and retailers, in order to increase their sales and profits, tend to sell unsafe, defective, and poor quality products, which may cause death or sometimes serious injury. For example, whenever we purchase food items, we should not purchase low quality ones, because sometimes it may cause a serious health issues. So in that case, we should always purchase a good quality ones and FPO marked products, which will ensure that the product has been manufactured in a clean, safe environment and it's not harmful for the human's life. So it is the consumer's right to get a protection from all such kinds of risk. While purchasing products, consumers must look for quality marks such as ISI, FPO, egg mark, hallmark, etc. These certification marks will help the consumers to identify products of quality, safety, hygiene, and standard ones. ISI mark is used for industrial products in India. It states that the product conforms to quality standards. FPO mark is used for fruit products. Egg mark for agricultural products, and hallmark for gold and silver jewelries. Our second consumer right is right to be informed or right to information. This right states that before carrying out any purchasing activity, consumer has a right to be informed or right to get full information about the product, like the product's ingredients, manufacturing date, expiry date, price, net weight, quantity, features, direction to use, warnings, etc. Entire information regarding the product must be given on the package of the product. This will enable the consumers to make a right consumption decision. As you can see, I have a Korean brand oil absorbing sheet, and on the package of the product all the information regarding the product has been mentioned, like the feature, direction to use, cautions, MRP rate, manufacturing and expiry date, etc. So after reading this information, I can make a right consumption decision on whether to purchase this product or not. Even the law requires manufacturers to put out all the information on the package and label of the product. After reading the entire information provided by the manufacturer, a buyer can take the right decision and make the right choice. Our second consumer right is right to choose. This means that consumer has the freedom or liberty to choose goods from a wide variety of products at competitive prices. It states that marketers and manufacturers must offer a wide range of products to its consumers, like in different sizes, different prices, different quantities, etc. Ultimately, it is the decision of a consumer whether to purchase the product or not. It is their choice. No one should be forced to select the product, to choose the product. The fourth consumer right is right to be heard. This right implies that when consumer feels violated, exploited, or if they are charged a higher price, or if they are sold uh, a bad quality or unsafe product, then they have the full right to express their opinions to the seller, and they can dauntlessly file a complaint with the consumer court. It is because of this reason, it is because of this right, many manufacturers and sellers have set up their own grievance cell, consumer service, customer care in order to deal with the dissatisfied consumers relating to their products and services. This right empowers the consumers that if they are ever cheated and if nobody is listening to them, they can always approach Consumer Redressal Forum and get relief. Our next right given to a consumer is right to seek redressal. This means that consumer has the right to get relief, right to get compensation in case the product is not up to the standard, or in case the product does not meet the expectation of a consumer, or if the product is dangerous to health and life of a consumer, or any other form of exploitation or unfair trade practices faced by the consumer. This right will protect the consumers to get relief, like replacement of the product, removal of defect in the product, or compensation for loss suffered, in order to serve justice and satisfy the consumers. Sixth consumer right is right to consumer education. Our last consumer right states that every single consumer has a right to have an education related to consumer rights, consumer responsibilities, and reliefs available to them. Every consumer must be aware about their rights and must exercise them. Acquiring knowledge, skills, being informed will help a consumer to make a right choice, make a right decision. For this, government has taken many initiatives to educate the consumers about their rights with the help of media and school education. Hello students, welcome back to Class 12 Business Studies. In this video lecture, we are going to deal with one of the topics of Chapter 12, Consumer Protection. Along with consumer rights comes consumer responsibilities. Consumer Act 1986 lays down certain consumer rights which will not be effective in attaining the objective of consumer protection unless consumers become responsible enough to protect their own interests first. So in today's lecture, we are going to understand obligations of consumers while purchasing, using and consuming the goods and services. Our first responsibility is to always ask for a cash memo. As a consumer, you should always insist on cash memo at the time of purchasing. While filing a complaint or asking for a compensation, this piece of paper will serve as a proof or evidence of the purchase made. Second consumer responsibility is consumers should have a good knowledge and be aware about various products and services available in the market in order to make a wise and good purchasing decision. One of the consumer responsibility is to purchase standardized goods. Consumers, when purchasing electrical goods, they should look for ISI mark, egg mark on agriculture products and hallmark on jewelries, as they provide quality assurance. Next responsibility is to use the product as per the manufacturer's instructions. Responsibility to use the product safely. We must also understand and be fully aware about the potential dangers or risk associated with the goods or services and use it accordingly. And then consumers must read the labels carefully that are mentioned on the package of the product in order to get full information regarding the product. As you can see, I have a mini Sprite bottle, and on the bottle the net quantity has been mentioned, that is 250 ml, and it is of 20 rupees. Manufacturing date as well as expiry date has been mentioned, and the nutritional facts. Ingredients also has been mentioned, and the quality mark as well. So many other informations are given as well. So in order to make a informed choice, we as a consumer must read all the labels before purchasing or using the product. Next responsibility is to assert yourself and get a fair deal. A consumer should not purchase based on merely advertisements. He or she should compare different brands, qualities, features, prices of similar product and services and then make a purchase decision. Next duty is consumers should always be honest in their dealings. We should always purchase our products and services from authorized dealers and refrain ourselves buying from illegal markets like Chor Bazaar and all. In case if a consumer receives a defective product, unsafe product, or there's a deficiency in services, or there's a shortcoming in the quality, quantity, purity standard of a product, then consumers must file a complaint at the appropriate consumer forums. We as a consumer should raise our voice and defend ourselves against any kind of wrongdoing, even if the amount involved is very small or less. Next, we have to form consumer organizations. It is a responsibility of consumers to join hands and collectively fight against the injustice. These consumers' organizations must also educate other consumers regarding their rights and responsibilities and protect the interest of consumers. And the last one is being a responsible consumer and helping the environment by avoiding wastages, littering, and contributing to pollution. Each and every consumer must understand their individual and social responsibility and protect the Mother Earth for our future generation, our next generation.